Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Tuesday, January 27th. We're going to take a look at the market action of the last couple of days here, and then look at our indicators, some of the ETFs that are kind of our indicators, and then take a look at the four stocks that I follow that had earnings out today: Apple, Caterpillar, YHOO, and US Steel. Okay, start off here with the Dow Industrial. So the Dow was down 291 points, almost 300 points today. And well, I tell you, at one point, it sure seemed like maybe this thing was just going to crack wide open. It was down. The low for the day was down 390 points when it was down here. But you can see I had this dotted line in here for support, where support has come in before, and then as soon as it got into that area, support came in. Now we'll look at some of these other indicators here in a minute, but it was interesting that when this market was down really bad like this, the New York Composite just wasn't looking that weak. The VIX wasn't reacting as bullishly as I would have thought it would for the market being down like it was. And I think the market was being amplified by, some of the Microsoft, Caterpillar that are in the Dow, because of the reports that came out this morning. I think Microsoft was last night, Cat was this morning, and they were disappointed. Cat really disappointed. So that's why I got hit pretty bad. So we'll take a look at that here in a minute. So I've still got this count as if this intermediate wave is the one we've completed, and that we're doing a fourth intermediate to the downside. Not sure whether that's going to play out or not. Okay, and especially when this didn't crack wide open today. Although you would think 200, almost 300 points, you say, well, wow, that's pretty bad move. But this thing, the futures were indicating down like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but it seemed like it was 250 points, or no, it was like 270, 280 points at one point before the market opened. So, it was basically we ended up right about where the futures indicated right before the market opened. Okay, let's take a look at the S&P 500. And again, down day, but, that was the other interesting point is a couple of these, not the Dow, but the S&P and the New York Composite for most of the day was trading within the range of this bar here, which was last Thursday's bar. See this big bar? And it did at one point then break below this low and close down here. Now, the one thing I am noticing here that the 21 is breaking below the 55. So we could be getting a little more damage in here than I'm initially thinking. This count is more the bullish count. This is still saying that wave 5 isn't completed yet. So I think, again, the jury's still out in my book as to whether or not that's happened. I'm talking about wave 5 of intermediate wave 3. Okay, so we'll see how this plays out. The NASDAQ, gap, it's showing more of a gap down in here. It looks like it kind of got support with this trend line, and we're getting a little bit of a what I'd call a confluence of moving averages right in here. They're all right together. The 10, the 21, the 55, they're all right on top of each other. So a lot of times you get, you're going to get a big move one way or the other. It's like this is consolidating in here, and we'll see where this continues to go, whether it continues to break to the downside or pops back up. Okay, let's move over and take a look at the New York Composite here. Now this is the one that, look at this, kind of a doji bar. For the Dow being down, 290 points. Look how this is. It was down 65. It's just, again, we had, kind of a bullish bar yesterday. And I almost thought it was reversing and coming up and it was going to break or something, break the top of these last couple bars, but it didn't do it. And then, now it's hanging, and here we got the 10 crossing above the 21. So we're definitely getting some mixed signals in here. The 21 has been below the 55 for a while here on the on the New York Composite. And again, this has been the one that's been the weaker one, but boy, this is starting to look more and more like some kind of symmetrical triangle where the market is really wrestling with, you know, where is it at and where does it go? So that's the picture that seems to be coming out of this thing. Russell 2000, let's see, the Russell 2000 was down 6 points today. And again, you know, it rallied back. You can see how the market kind of came back here in the afternoon. And again, this is choppy, sideways, overlapping waves. And we'll see. It seems to have gotten a little bit of support above the 233. Let's see. The next thing we want to take a look at the short-term trading index. Now, this did not end up real bearish. I mean, in terms of an individual day reading, 1.41, you know, extremely bearish. You know, you'd think if the Dow down 290 points, this would have had a reading up here like 2.3 or 2.2 or something like this one. You know, but it didn't happen. And part of that is, I guess, you know, the way the market rallied back a little bit in the afternoon. The VIX, again, remember I was talking about how it didn't, you know, you don't see a big white candle here, you know, bullish candle. It just, and even the size of this bar today just is not very, you know, much movement in here for being down 390 points at one point on the Dow. You know, I was looking at this and I thought, wow, you know, the market's telling us that, you know, maybe this thing really isn't cracking wide open. And then high-low, where's my high-low? There we go. And again, this is the other thing that has been a little bit of a, you know, telling us a story, I think. I mean, 257 more new highs, 52-week new highs than new lows. So given all the market action that's been going on, we've been having this steady stream of more new highs than new lows. And it's been pushing up and doing this for the last, I don't know, several days, last week at least, while the Dow has been, you know, kind of chopping. And so we'll see if that's any kind of real indication or not. But I mean, it sure looked like it broke this trend line. It's up here. Now, I mean, it's possible we could be having a little M top here. You know, every time I see this type of action, I start to think that, but I'm not putting a whole lot of weight in it right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay, all right, now I want to take a look at the 3 ETFs that we've got. And semiconductor is the first one I usually look at. I haven't looked at these in a few videos. And the semiconductors, you know, it rallied up and now it's come back down the last couple days. Okay, so this is last week. So last week, kind of bullish action, semiconductors. Now we're pulling back. So I'm not sure this is giving me any, you know, strong picture in here. A little bit chopping sideways since this high on December 5th. So that was the high for the semiconductor ETF. And the home builders, there we go. Thought I lost it. The home builders have been pretty volatile. Remember, we had this big rally peak and it kind of reversed on down, and that was on the 13th and came back down. Now we've bounced back up. So a lot of volatility in here, and actually it's been, you know, it's been happening since you know, the end of November. But we did push to, you know, pretty dramatic, you know, new high here, and then it sold off, had this collapse, bouncing back. The only thing I could say here is that the 55 is above the 233. You basically have your intermediate long-term moving averages aligned to the upside again. You know, there for a while when the 55 broke below the 233, you know, it's like showing some dramatic weakness, and then we did get that sell-off down here, but then now it's recovered. So right now it's kind of signaling, yeah, we're moving to the high side here on the home builders. And then the last one I want to take a look at is the financial XLF, the Financial Select Spider ETF. That's what it's called. The let's see, the high was here on the 29th, right? Remember I think the market had a high on the 26th, and this had the actual closing high on the 29th. And since then, it's been pretty much of a, you know, short-term downtrend. You got the 10 below the 21 below the 55. I mean, it's breaking down. You're starting to get a little bit of lower lows, lower highs kind of thing. You've broken below this point here, this December low here, because it didn't do it here. I think it did it there. So we'll have to see whether or not this continues to show us weakness or not. Sometimes, one of these, usually one, if not more, all of them start to roll over, and we'll see whether or not, before you have a top is what I'm trying to say. And we'll see whether or not the financials start to do that. Okay, now I want to go ahead and move into these 4 stocks today that had earnings, and let's talk about Apple to start off. Okay, this is the action on Apple today, and yes, I was in here with the call trade ideas on this, and I think I'd gone long on this day above, right up in here around 112.72, something like that. And I really thought this was going to pop, and then this action, when this opened down, started trading down, I just said, okay, I'm not going to hold this for a couple closes below the blue line. But, 2020 hindsight, Monday morning quarterback, I could have, but I just didn't, once it started to act like this, I said, okay, I think I'd made this decision last night that if it closed below the low of the last 2 days, I was going to get out. And so right around, 2:55 Central Time, 5 minutes before the market, closed around, I guess it was like 8 minutes before or so, it was just acting so negative. It's when I got out. Okay, and it continued to collapse at the last couple minutes, and they bounced it back, and then of course the earnings came out, and it was blowout earnings. So where is Apple trading right now? It is 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time, and Apple's trading at 15:35 or so. So it's right up here above 15. I think it gotten as high as maybe 15.50 and maybe a little bit higher. But it's been trading between 14, 15 most of the time in the after hours. So it's back, it's right up in here. Okay, so it's pushing up. So it's, looks like it's going to go. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it acts tomorrow and what kind of picture that gives us. So missed out on that one by not sitting there, but, I made that decision. The trade idea ended up losing 17%. And, who knows? If it would have gone the other way, and earnings disappointed or just met expectations with everything, this thing could have been way down here. So, based on the way this was acting, and I just said, okay, I will preserve and wait for another day. So let's see, the next one is Caterpillar. All right, look at this. I mean, so Cat came out this morning before the market closed, and then it gap down here and was basically trading down here most around 79.80 most of the day. Big disappointment in the earnings, and this is really just a continuation of this trend. And this is a tough one. I mean, I had puts at one point in here. I can't remember where it was. And this is where it's really, really hard to stay with the trend. But boy, if you can stay with the trend, I mean, look how you get rewarded. And so that's the challenge, especially with options, is trying to stay with the trend. And let's see, CAT is right now trading 80, bidding 80.2 to 80.25, so it's just right slightly above where it closed. Okay, and the next one is we're going to take a look at Yahoo. And I had put out an update video on Yahoo yesterday, I believe. What day is it today? Tuesday? I think it was yesterday morning. And I was bullish on Yahoo because I felt like a fifth wave was getting ready to go here. And so this is very similar to Apple in a way, undergoing a fourth wave correction, getting this breaking of trading above the 10-day moving average. But again, today, look at this little kind of a fake out, close down below the 10. But then where is it trading right now, Yahoo? It is trading at, we'll see if that's where it is tomorrow morning. It's trading 51.4. So it's trading up above this trend line. So it's breaking this trend line. It's 51.4. Up in here is where it's trading right now. So we're continuing, so now it's getting this move to the high side, and we'll see how far it goes and where it wants to go. And why? Because they announced some kind of tax-free spinoff of the Alibaba shares to stockholders, to shareholders. So that spurred it on, and it rallied big time here in the after hours. Okay, and the last one we're going to take a look at is United States Steel, ticker symbol X. All right, so again, look at this downtrend. Boy, if you can just ride it, and you can just ride it, that's the challenge. And, but now, here we got earnings came out. Earnings was surprise. Pretty big surprise on the earnings, actually. And it is now trading slightly above 23. So it closed 21.27 and is trading above 23, right around 23.2. So it's up about 10% in the aftermarket. So it's right up in here, not right in here actually. Right there's 23. So it's slightly above that. So it's kind of pulled back right around where this 21-day moving average is. So we'll see if this is if that's the start of something. Does that mean United States Steel is going to start to turn around or not? But I mean, again, it's in a pretty strong downtrend. One day does not make a new trend, that's for sure. So, all right, that's it for tonight. We took a look at the 4 stocks with the big news, and tomorrow, Facebook, Las Vegas Sands, Under Armour are 3 of the ones I'm following have earnings coming out. And then the Fed releases, their meeting concludes, the FOMC meeting concludes at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, 1 o'clock Central Time. So I will be back on Thursday with another market update. Everyone have a great Wednesday. It's been Joe for Beyond the Chart, and that'll do it for tonight.